Hello and welcome to PeachFuzz, Lakepoint Sports and Prep Baseball Georgia's high school baseball podcast. I'm Grayson Rosen, joined by Prep Baseball Georgia scouting director Hudson Graham and Prep Baseball Georgia assistant scouting director Ian Smith. Had a lot going on. Obviously, state championships wrapping up at the beginning of this week and over the weekend. We've got a lot coming up this weekend. Everything's going on. The 2025 rankings update. How you guys been doing? It's been a busy couple weeks.
Definitely been. Ian's been living in Gwinnett. I was over at Rome and then bounced over to Gwinnett a little bit. So, but yeah, Ian's definitely a part-time Gwinnett resident after the last week or so.
Yeah, it's been a busy few weeks. A lot of rain, a lot of good baseball. So that's been helpful. It's been a great way to close out a really strong spring high school season for us here. So it was a good way to finish things off.
Yeah, and with that high school baseball season coming to an end here in Georgia, it's kind of just the start of everything. Now we roll right into the summer. We've got a full summer ahead of us to look forward to, and it begins this weekend. State games of Georgia up at Lakepoint. Got 14, 15, 16, and 17U going on. Got, I think, 122 teams going. That's Saturday through Tuesday this coming week, and then you guys just keep your busy week rolling right into the Lakepoint Summer ID and Rising Stars ID on Wednesday.
Yeah, pretty much nonstop now. We'll get rolling this weekend with the first tournament, and then the gauntlet, as we like to call it, underclass MPI straight into upper class top prospect games. Once we get through that, we're kind of smooth sailing with just some tournaments, but it's always crazy time up until that point.
Definitely. And you guys, like we kind of mentioned at the top, you also released the 2025 rankings update. So we'll be talking a little bit about that later on. But let's go ahead and start with some state championships. We'll kind of roll through a couple of the ones you guys didn't get the chance to see down in Statesboro. So your 1A Division I champions are Prince Avenue Christian. They defeat Tallulah Falls 6-5 and then 9-4. And then in 1A Division II, you had Lanier County defeat Charlton County for the state championship. That one 1-5 and then 8-7, 3-2 for Lanier County. And then North Cobb Christian defeats Appling County in a 3-game series as well. North Cobb Christian wins game 1 6-2. They lose 3-0 and then they win 3-0 in game 3. But let's start with the games up in Rome. 3A, Harlem defeats Calvary Day 13-5 and then 7-0.
Yeah, that was the first one that I got out to see. I was really excited to see Calvary Day. Not getting a chance to see them. They've had a really strong playoff run so far. And Harlem's obviously just been playing great baseball from the jump. We talked about 22, 26, 28-0, just kept going on and on and on. But I finally got to see it in action. It's really just good all around baseball. They got some timely hits in game 1 and really ran away with it. And then game 2, they saw a Vandy commit from Will Hampton on the mound from Calvary Day. And it was kind of spit and rain a little bit, misting. And, he's an upper 80s guy with a really tight breaking ball. So he struggled to find command a little bit, but still they put some pressure on him with some bunts. I think they had, 3 or 4 bunts in a row at one point, making them make plays. So they're just all around competitive. They're well coached. They got quite a few guys. Will Holder was back for them after missing the last playoff series, which was big. He had a really big game 1, I think, with 2 or 3 hits over at first base as well. So yeah, that was Calvary Day's got a lot coming back. Will Hampton's little brother's a sophomore, Carter Hampton. Was really impressed with him at the plate. Another one was Brody Dawson, a junior for him that I really liked as well. So they're definitely a team that we want to be sure to check out early next year down in Savannah. I know we got quite a few guys coming up to Lakepoint this summer, so we'll get to see them. Quinn Johnson's one that I didn't get to see out of the pen for him, or I guess the game 3 starter. We'll actually get to see him this weekend with SCB Prime in the state games of Georgia. So, Harlem took care of those games, the doubleheader, and got their back-to-back state championship title wrapped up. So congrats to them. Congrats to Calvary Day on a great season. They ran through a couple good teams in Dawson County and Mary Person. So no easy road to get there, but really excited with the first 3A championship that we got to see.
Gotcha. And then our next championship game, the 4A championship, Stars Mill gets the best of Cherokee Bluff. First game 11-1, and then 2-1 in the second game.
Yeah, this is more the same from Stars Mill. It's a team we've talked about a bunch on this podcast as having one of the better offenses in the state. And that was shown in game one in an 11-1 victory. I think Stars Mill had a 7-run inning in the fifth. That was capped off from a bases clearing triple from none other than Heath Whitlock, who's hit for massive power all spring long for them. He's been one of their best bats. Bo Walker had a couple nice barrels. Austin Killingsworth was 3 for 3 on the day as well. They just continue to hit. Charlie Clem came up with a big hit. Brock Rain had a big double. It's just 1 through 9 in the lineup. There's really not an easy out. You got 7 or 8 committed guys in the lineup, almost in every matchup for them. So they're going to hit at all times. Heath Whitlock pitched a good game one for them as well, holding a tough Cherokee Bluff lineup that we've talked about as well. Just 1 run over 5, and then we saw Brock Rain again in the bullpen, a guy I've mentioned a lot over on Twitter and pretty much on here as well. It's been one of their most consistent bullpen arms for Stars Mills this spring. He's a more third baseman, shortstop for them. He's a sophomore committed to Georgia, but the stuff on the mound continues to get better. It's a sinker changeup mix. It's a turbo sinker with a ton of sink and run up to 89, and the changeup really just has a bottom door to it that just falls out. It misses bats to both sides of the plate. He really racks up swing and miss in every outing. I think in the 3 innings we saw over him over the 2 games, I think he had 18 swing and misses in 3 innings, which is quite impressive for a bullpen arm. He fills up the zone. There's 81% strikes in the second game. Game 2 went back and forth. Another good start from Kyle Rudolph, an uncommitted 2025 for Stars Mill, a guy that we haven't talked about a bunch this year, kind of under the radar with a good fastball up to 89 from a low slot, mixing a low 70s curveball as well, and mixing a changeup that we saw very, very minimally and a little bit more in warmups, but a pitch that he can work into his arsenal and be a quality third pitch. But overall, Stars Mill just looked like the team that we've talked about throughout the year, and is happy to see them win their first state championship since 2021 and their second overall.
All right. Well, let's get into 5A. This is one that we talked about quite a bit with Loganville. They complete the three-peat. They defeat Cartersville in a 3-game series. They win 5-3 in game 1. They lose 3-14 in game 2, and then they come back and win that 3rd game 4-3.
Yeah, man, this was some good baseball from Loganville. They're kind of the inevitable team in the state playoffs. So this is 8 straight state championships, and now they went back to back for their third straight state title in 5A. They do all the little things well. They bunt, they run well. They're going to squeeze you. If they get on base, they're going to take the extra base. They're going to steal. They're going to advance on sack bunts, sack flies. They're just going to play good baseball consistently. Tucker Seegers was huge for them throughout the weekend. He's an uncommitted 2024. He started game 1 on the mound and went 5 or 6 strong innings for them, holding a strong Cartersville lineup to I think just two earned runs. He picked up 6 hits on the weekend as well in the 3-hole for them. He was really just their main player throughout the weekend. It was in quality lineup. I mean, Cartersville came out in game 2, put 14 runs on the board, and you thought they had the edge in the series. And then back you go to game 3, and it didn't seem like anything changed for Loganville. They came out with the same consistency, the same energy. They played the same way. They didn't make mistakes again. Got good base running. Got good pitching from Lane Ayers in game 3. That was huge for them, and it was just impressive to see them take down if you look on paper, a much better roster when you're looking at the Cartersville and Loganville team. And I know maybe not the nicest thing to say, but when you're looking at paper on paper, but the game isn't played on paper, and Loganville came out and showed that again this year for their 3rd straight state title.
All right. Well, then we get to an exhilarating 6A championship, if you're looking for offense at least. Etowah blows it up in game 1 to win 15-0, and then they win the second game 6-4, and they become state champions once again.
Yeah, man. This is another one I was looking forward to. I was, again, another state championship I was able to attend in Gwinnett. But Etowah and Pope was probably my most anticipated matchup I had for these whole entire playoffs. Etowah has been a team I've talked about a bunch. Been, I think, maybe the best team in the state throughout, and they showed it in these playoffs. Putting 15 runs on the board against a quality arm in Dawson Jones in game 1 was quite impressive. They've been a team who hasn't scored a bunch of runs in the playoffs. They've been winning closer games, getting a lot of quality pitching from the top for them. But I think this is a game where they really went to show their offense. They got a great show from Trevor Condon, a 2026 outfielder committed to Miami that, again, the guy we talk about a bunch, but he just consistently shows up in big moments. Hit a massive 3-run bomb in this one to cap off a huge, I think it was a 10-run inning for them as well in the 5th. And a team that just continues to hit 1 through 9, just like the Stars Mill lineup you have at the top of 2 uncommitted seniors and Jake Sabo and Bryce Adams, who continue to hit. And behind that with 3 straight sophomores and Deion Cole, Matthew Sharman, and Condon, who continue to produce in those levels. And you're looking at a team that just won a state championship running off 22 straight wins, and you're filling up the 3-4-5 hole with sophomores. Then you have a freshman later down the lineup in Cannon Borchering, who continues to produce, put 10 hits on the board over the playoffs for them, and looks like be the middle of the lineup for them for the next 4 years. And this Etowah team was just impressive, and it was impressive to see him do it against another Pope team that's another inevitable playoff team who's made 9 straight Final Four runs for them as well.
All right. Well, that brings us to our final state championship. That's the 7A state championship. Like we said in the last episode, the final 7A state championship, at least for the foreseeable future. Lowndes defeats Grayson 4-3 and 4-2. So some close games, but Lowndes does get the best of them.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't think I can say anything bad about this performance that we saw from Grayson. They're a team that just is gritty and performs. They grind out games. They played some of the best defense that we saw throughout the playoffs. 2025 shortstop Landon Arroyos might have been the most impressive player I saw over the 3 days in Gwinnett. He did all the little things well. He showed a plus glove at short, made some impressive plays, moving to his left, moved to his right, made a diving play to end the game, or to save 2 runs to end the game in game 2. That was huge for them. That they actually had a chance to win at the end for them. They battled a Lowndes team that's 1 through 9, maybe the best in the state lineup. You know, this is a team that continues to produce at a high level. It starts at the top with Lowndes. Tate Sermons continues to show the impressive bat speed and hit for them. Behind that, you have guys like Coleman Lewis, a 2025 junior, who picked up 5 hits on the day in the two victories for them. They got good pitching at the top, and they continue to show why they're the best team in the state in 7A to go back-to-back against a team in Grayson that was playing with house money.
Yeah, it was a great time with the state championships. So much great baseball being played, tons of talent on display. And to talk about this talent, let's talk briefly about the class of 2025 rankings update that came out. The list got expanded to 315, and if you guys want to just kind of hit on a couple of guys that you're pretty excited about, big movers.
Yeah, so the 2025 was really the first class that I kind of got to focus on when I came in as scouting director last spring. And so I was really excited for Ian to get a chance to look at, a lot of the top end guys in this class. After a really strong future games performance with a lot of these guys, a lot of those guys were big movers in our rankings in our preseason update. So it's a continuing evaluation process for us. Having Ian here this spring was great to kind of cross-check what I was seeing last year when I was out and about in games and what I saw over the summer. So the biggest mover we had was John Stutzer, taking a jump to number 3. He's just been a guy that ever since last spring, I kind of just really wanted to lock in on. Got him in future games. All the coaches really liked him there. Ended up committing to Florida State. But really the athleticism is what takes over for him. I think the guys that are so athletic like that can just find ways to succeed, regardless of the situation that they're put in. So that was, the first big riser. I know Ian's got a couple that he got to see. Ryan Hall was a big one, Sanford Halcomb as well. And then Ian's fan favorite, Reed Worley, jumped into the mix in the top 10. Those are probably the biggest ones that we saw. Yidlin Nolasco was another one that we've talked about from North Alden. Made a really big jump in there. But the biggest thing was getting it expanded a bit, finding some guys that we didn't know about this spring, and then just getting, quality players in that mix of 315, just so we can have a good base to follow into the summer.
Gotcha. Yeah, Ian, who are some of the guys you really liked in this 2025 update?
Yeah, Hudson just mentioned a bunch there, but one more I wanted to mention is Will Huggins, a guy we had a preseason All-State in January. He made probably one of the more substantial jumps overall, making over 100 spots, moving into the top 50. He's a recent Georgia commit at Bowdoin. He's just shown immense power from the left side this spring. The glove continues to be impressive at short, and he just looks like a guy who can continue to move into the upper tier of middle infielders that we have in this 2025 class.
Awesome, yeah.
Outside of that, and one other guy, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Tanner Morneau. Guy we've talked about a bunch. He moved into the top 100 at 78. A guy who just hits. He's not going to be the biggest guy, but he runs well, plays a quality center field, and continues to produce the plate. He's been huge for that Spoke team as they made another state championship run this year. And I think he's a guy that needs to be watched pretty closely this summer as an uncommitted 2025, as not a lot of teams are in on these guys yet.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there's so many guys to look at. Like we said, the list expands to 315. So make sure you go check it out on the Prep Baseball website. Go to the Georgia rankings and take a look at what these guys did. And let's move on to the other end of the high school spectrum, I guess, the freshman team that Ian put together. We'll just hit on a couple of guys. Don't need to go through the whole list. But Ian, kind of who are your top guys you wanted to highlight here?
Yeah, I'll start off with a guy named Hayes McGinnis. freshman from Noonan, plays second base, but we're going to talk about what he does on the mound here. He's been up in the upper 80s with a really good curveball and changeup. He had a sparkling 1.32 ERA over 30-something innings this year. He pitched really well. He's a first-team All-Region. Didn't give up a lot of hard base hits. Was pitched really well at the bottom of the zone. You can see the projection out of a compact arm action from an over-the-top slot. Really fills up the zone. Has an understanding of how to pitch. Knows when to pitch. Can pitch to throw his fastball at the top of the zone, bottom of the zone, and just looks like a guy who can produce at a high level, a football player as well, and just continues to produce. And I could have put him in a two-way spot. I could have put him in a utility, but he's going to be a starting pitcher on the All Freshman team just because of how quality it was on the mound this year. And then another guy, Caden Dawson, we've talked about a bunch, but maybe the most advanced freshman in our state, top 10 in the country, number 1 in the class, hit nearly 400 this spring with 5 home runs, 7 doubles, walked almost as more than he struck out. Just was an advanced bat in the middle of a blessed serenity lineup that we've talked about a bunch, full of top-tier bats like the Zagrin twins, Kate Kiz, Wesley Bass. The list goes on with them. And I think Dawson was a guy who really stood out for us as on this all-freshman team.
Fantastic. And Hudson, what about yourself? Who are some guys on this all-freshman team that really caught your eye?
So a few for me, a couple past junior future gamers. Liam Collier being one over at Locust Grove, first baseman, left-handed hitter for them. Had a really big year. We got to see him at Georgia Dugout Club, and he kind of just ran away with the starting role from there. And then Carson Bruce, another future gamer for us, got in the lineup kind of towards beginning to the middle of the season and ran away with it as well. Getting super physical, two-way guy, two-sport athlete guy. And then last one would be Matthew Westbrook. He was kind of thrown in right away, Georgia Dugout Club. I think he started the Jefferson game, first game of the season, freshman, here you go, go get it. So he really stepped up in that situation. Had some games to where he pitched out of some tough situations. McIntosh is one that I really remember. Had some guys on early and really worked through that. So pitchability-wise, I think Matthew's got some of the best stuff in the class. He continues to prove that. He competes on the mound. It's upper 80s. I think it'll continue to stay there. It's strong frame. So he's got a lot to look forward to at Alexander. So those are just three of my kind of ones that, I was really excited to see jump in and excel at the varsity level, just because we've seen them at the 13U, 14U level. So kind of getting full circle, and now we'll get to follow them into the summer.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and just talk about what they're going to be doing this weekend. A couple of those guys we might be seeing this weekend up at Lakepoint at the state games in Georgia. 122 teams, like I said earlier. It's a wood bat tournament. 14U's got 20 teams. 15U, there's 40 teams. And then 16U, 36. And then there's 26 17U teams. So a ton of baseball to be watched. Some of the top players from around the Southeast, not just in Georgia. We've got a couple of top guys out of South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, and quite a few more, with those seasons kind of coming to an end around the Southeast. So a lot to look forward to at State Games of Georgia this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. This is always a good one for us because we get, it's majority Georgia teams and Southeast teams. Excel and Alabama, they always come and play in this one. So they're always a super talented bunch that we get to see. But just going through the teams, we got quite a few Georgia guys that I'm really excited to see. SEB Prime being one, and I'll mention some of those kind of South Georgia guys coming up on that team. Game On as well. They're a program that plays with us a lot. So Georgia Jackets, just getting off a scout day with them. Got to see a lot of their, a lot of their guys from 2025 all the way down to 2027. So really good mix for us. We have, quite a few guys coming in for their summer internship. So getting to cover a lot of games is key for us. Going to, one game at a time is a piece of cake compared to what we get when we got 8 fields rolling. So I know Ian got a little bit of a taste of it over the summer and in the fall, but I'm sure he'll be getting his steps in, chasing all the guys that we need to see. So really excited to get the summer kicked off this weekend.
Yeah, fantastic. There's going to be tons of baseball to watch, so make sure you're up there at Lakepoint Saturday through Tuesday this week. And then that leads right into what you guys have got going on, which is the Lakepoint Rising Stars ID and the Summer ID, I believe is the other one, all going on Wednesday right after that tournament concludes.
Scout day as well. It should be a busy Wednesday. Kick things off for the summer after finishing off state games in Georgia. It should be a busy start to the summer, and it's a whole summer overall. I think we're really excited about that with the MPI starting next week, to have 2 showcases and a scout day to roll into that. Would be a good way to start things.
Yeah, got a lot of stuff going on for you guys. Anything else on the prep baseball side that you guys want to talk about before we get out of here?
some more ranking update in the next 2 weeks. We'll have a new updated 2026 list and a 2027 list that we'll talk about in the next few weeks on here. But those will be something to look forward to as we roll into the summer as well.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for what we've got this week. Next week, there will be no episode. Going to give these guys a little bit of a break after such a busy high school season. And we'll get right back into it, covering all the stuff coming this summer. So make sure you guys are subscribed here on YouTube and the Lakepoint Sports YouTube. Make sure you're following Lakepoint and Prep Baseball Georgia, as well as these two guys on social media, so you can stay up to date with everything going on this summer. And yeah, with that being said, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy these games this weekend, and we'll see you guys later. Thanks.